Call to order. The time is 12:04. Norma Hutcheson, the Bega Chairperson, and the meeting is being held virtually via WebEx. Joining me are board members Charles Nottingham, Felice Smith, Darren Sobin, and Melissa Tucker. Okay, and together we constitute a quorum for this meeting. Okay, next, since it was first posted, the meeting agenda has not been changed in any way. So please take a few minutes to review the agenda, and then I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll offer the motion to adopt today's agenda.
I'll second that motion.
Is there a vote?
Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
Yeah, there was a motion and a second.
Okay, who moved to?
Chip, oh no, I don't know.
I believe-
I forgot
It
already.
I believe it was Felice who offered the motion, and I, Chip Notty, seconded it.
Thank you so much. Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we adopt the agenda for today's meeting. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Ayes. And hearing none, the agenda is adopted. Also before us are the meeting minutes from October 5th, 2023. You take a minute to review those, and then we need a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
I'm going to abstain from that since I was not able to participate in the last meeting.
Thank you.
I'll offer the motion to adopt the minutes.
Doctor, thank you. Second.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes from the October 5th meeting. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 No nays. And we'll note that Mr. Sobin abstained. And next we'll hear a report from the Office of Open Government. Director Niquelle Allen will provide the report on behalf of the office, and she's appearing virtually via WebEx. Director Allen, please proceed.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Chairperson Hutcheson and members of the board. I am Niquelle Allen, Director of Open Government, and I am pleased to present this report on the activities of the Office of Open Government, or OOG. Since the last board meeting, OOG has continued to fulfill its mission of ensuring that all persons receive full and complete information regarding the affairs of the District of Columbia government and the actions of those who represent them. I'll start my report with Open Meetings Act, or OMA, and Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA, advice rendered by the office. The first item is advisory opinions, supplemental letter of advice to the Metropolitan Police Department. On October 6, 2023, OOG provided an advice letter to the Metropolitan Police Department's General Counsel as a supplement to its advice rendered on September 22nd, 2023, regarding correctly stating the law in its DC FOIA responses, and that was our matter number OOG-2023-003_A. OOG instructed and advised MPD to inform all DC FOIA requesters of the correct recitation of sections 134 and 135 of the Comprehensive Policing Act, because MPD provided numerous requesters with a DC FOIA denial letter that incorrectly stated this law. MPD has provided at least one requester with a corrected letter as of the date of this meeting. The next item is Informal Open Meetings Act and Freedom of Information Act advice rendered by the office. Since the last board meeting, OOG has responded informally via email or telephone to requests for assistance as follows. OOG responded to 2 requests for Open Meetings Act advice. OOG responded to 3 requests for FOIA advice, and OOG responded to 8 requests for technical assistance with open-dc.gov. The next item is remote meeting monitoring. OOG attorneys and our paralegal attend remote public meetings to ensure compliance with the Open Meetings Act and inspect public body websites and OOG's central meeting calendar for public meeting notices and records. We provide legal advice on OMA compliance and take corrective action if necessary. During October 2023, OOG's legal staff attended 12 remote public body meetings. As a result of the monitoring, no instances of written corrective measures were taken, which is a success for us. The next item is training and outreach. The first is cybersecurity training. On October 13th, 2023, Attorney Weil, and October 16th, 2023, Attorney Skirbo completed the DC Department of Human Resources cybersecurity training, which I believe is given with Octo. The course included uncovering tactics used by cyber criminal, common threats, and a demonstration of a cyber attack. All Bega employees are required to complete this training. The next item is Kogel Connect, engaging training. On October 16, 2023, Assistant Executive Director and Legal Counsel at the Honolulu Ethics Commission, Lori Juan Nowinski, facilitated Kogel Connect, engaging training sub-connect. This training consisted of Kogel members sharing experiences to effectively conduct online training. Attorneys DeBerry, Weil, and Skirbo, and paralegal specialist Brown attended the training. The next item is Ethics Weeks 2023, sessions attended by OOG. The first is the introduction and opening remarks given by OGE Director Ashley Cooks. She began Ethics Week with an overview of Bega's structure and function. The introduction highlighted the year's theme, Everyday Ethics, Can't Go a Day Without It, hashtag. Attorneys DeBerry, Weil, and Skirbo, and paralegal specialist Brown attended the opening, which was in person here at the Berry Building. Ask Bega on October 23, 2023, Miss Ethics, along with Attorney Advisor Eccles, OGE Attorney Advisor Jones, and OGE Attorney Van facilitated an open Q&A. Miss Ethics presented ethics questions, and OGE attorney advisors answered. All of our attorneys and paralegal attended the session. Ethics Game Show. This was facilitated by Senior Attorney Advisor Lynn Tran on October 23rd. She hosted the Ethics Game Show, which I truly enjoyed. The interactive game provided ethics questions and answers in competition format for participants. All of OOG attended this training. On October 23rd, 2023, OGE's supervisory investigator, Ronald Cook, and investigator Rhoda Glasgow and investigator Taja Reed presented as investigative trends. The panel discussed trends and themes encountered while conducting investigations, and attorneys Weil, Skirbo, and paralegal Brown attended the training. The Campaign Legal Center discusses the learning management systems. This was also on October 23rd. Legal Counsel for Ethics, Campaign Legal Center, Delaney Marsco. Legal Counsel for Ethics, Campaign Legal Center, Danielle Caputo, and OGE Attorney Maurice Eccles and OGE Attorney Jones facilitated a discussion on the importance of the learning management system in ethics. All of our attorneys and paralegal attended this training. Ethics updates. On October 24th, Attorney Van presented Ethics Update. This presentation included current ethics stories and provided OGE updates. I attended this training along with OOG's entire staff. Ethics training for managers on October 24th. OGE supervisory attorneys Asia Stewart Mitchell presented Ethics for Managers. This course addressed the demands of managing and supervising DC government employees. I attended this training along with attorneys DeBerry and Skirbo. Last, almost getting to the end. I thought it was the last, so we got a few more. We were very well trained last week. Blowing the whistle in the district. On October 24th, OGE Attorney Maurice Eccles moderated a discussion on blowing the whistle in the district. The course featured Siri Nelson, Executive Director of the National Whistleblower Center, our own General Counsel Rashi Raj, and Matt Wilkelson, the OIG Deputy Inspector General for External Affairs, as panelists. This discussion included laws that help curb retaliation against government employees and steps after blowing the whistle or being retaliated against. All of OOG staff, including myself, attended this training. Being ethical is harder than you think. On October 26th, Michael Brett Hood, owner of the 21st Century Learning and Consulting, facilitated Being Ethical is Harder Than You Think. This interactive session provided participants with methods on how to mitigate processes that may inadvertently promote unethical behaviors. I attended this training along with attorneys DeBerry and Skirbo and paralegal specialist Brown. Fireside Chat, Artificial Intelligence and Ethics. Also on October 26th, OGE Attorney Eccles facilitated a panel discussion with Hirsch Gupta of Octo and Todd Smith of Octo, who's their general counsel, and Matthew Sokol, who is their chief data officer. The panelists presented information on artificial intelligence and its current and future impact on workplace ethics. OOG's entire staff also attended this training. Legal ethics for government attorneys. On October 26th, DC Bar's counsels Erica Stillabauer and Nakia Matthews, along with Rashi Raj, our general counsel, and Aja Stewart Mitchell, our supervisory attorney, presented a CLE accredited course for government attorneys on legal ethics rules. I attended this training course along with attorneys Wiles, Skirbo, and paralegal specialist Brown. The intersection of DEI and ethics. On October 27th, Dr. Hewitt of she is the Chief Equity Officer of the District of Columbia's Office of Racial Equity, presented the intersection of DEI and ethics. This training, DEI is diversity, ethics, and inclusion. This training provided a discussion of the interplay between diversity, equity, inclusion, and ethics. I think I said that wrong for DEI and government work. I attended this training along with the rest of OOG staff. Fireside Chat, Local Ethics Authorities. On October 27th, OGE Supervisory Attorney Aza Stewart Mitchell moderated a very good training on the Fireside Chat, Local Ethics Authorities with Director Cooks, Todd Turner of Prince George's County, Stuart Peyote of Virginia, and Joanne Amberger of Baltimore. They were all directors of their respective state agencies. This discussion highlighted a myriad of local government ethics topics. I attended this training along with attorneys Wiles, Skirbo, and paralegal specialist Brown. And last, mental health and ethics. On October 27, Palia Alsay Tutu presented mental health and ethics. This training provided mental health implications of ethical issues in the workplace, tips to manage stress and minimize the negative impact of work issues that might have on mental health. I attended this training with attorney Skirbo and paralegal specialist Brown, and I'm going to move my shoulders back, which I was told during that training that you need to do to keep yourself from being stressed out in the workplace. But they were all very great trainings, and I'd like to congratulate the Office of Government Ethics on a very successful week, and I enjoyed every session that I attended. The next item is Ethics Week 2023. These are trainings facilitated and attended by OOG. FOIA and OMA introduction from the Office of Open Government Director, myself. On October 20th, I presented FOIA and OMA introduction from the director. In this session, I provided an overview of the DC Freedom of Information Act and Open Meetings Act and an introduction to the Office of Open Government and provided an update on our activities. I also presented on electronic meetings best practices, where I covered the relevant OMA provisions concerning electronic virtual meetings and best practices based on OOG's experience attended remote meetings. Attorneys DeBerry, Skirbo, and paralegal specialist Brown attended this training. The next training that we offered was Who Wants to Be a FOIA Officer? On October 25th, attorneys DeBerry and Weil presented this course. It was an interactive presentation consisting of multiple choice questions and answers, and participants were also able to ask questions throughout the presentation regarding FOIA. I attended along with attorney Skirbo and paralegal specialist Brown. Newcomer's Guide to the Open Meetings Act. On October 25th, Attorney Scarborough presented the Newcomer's Guide to the OMA. This presentation covered the basics of the OMA and offered a Q&A for attendees. I, along with attorneys DeBerry, Weil, and Paralegal Brown, attended the training. How to post on the central meetings calendar. On October 25th, IT specialist Kevin Brown presented how to post on the central meetings calendar page training course, which provided a step-by-step guidance on how to post the district's information on the central meeting calendar. All of OOG attended this training. Overview of recent OMA and FOIA advisory opinions and advice. On October 25th, I provided an overview of the latest FOIA and OMA advisory opinions published by our office and also legal advice given. This training session covered the facts of each advisory opinion as well as our conclusions and findings. OOG's legal advice rendered respecting the OMA was also discussed. All of our staff attended this training. OMA training for the Mayor's Office on Caribbean and Community Affairs and the Advisory Council to the Office of Caribbean Community Affairs. On October 25th, Attorney Scarborough conducted an additional evening training of the Newcomer's Guide to the OMA for this public body. The entire OOG legal staff attended this training as well. The presentation covered the basic of the OMA, offered a question and answer period for the attendees, and began a relationship with these DC entities that we plan to expand and extend with training, advice, and support. The next items in my report are the litigation and legislation update. I will start with litigation. The first is the Chicago Justice Project, CJP, FOIA suit against District of Columbia regarding the gang database and opposing fee demands. This is an update on this lawsuit to compel MPD to release certain records concerning the gang tracking and analysis system. As I have reported, the parties were engaged in a dispute between an advance fee that MPD demanded for its FOIA review and a similar amount that CJP demanded in attorney fees. It now appears that the parties have agreed in principle to a settlement and are cooperatively working to finalize it. The consent motion that reports this status is in Dropbox. The next case is Meta Platforms Incorporated versus the District of Columbia regarding consumer content was not an excuse for compliance with a subpoena where content had been publicly posted. During the public health emergency, the district subpoenaed the social media company Meta for its records regarding Facebook's policing and deplatforming of COVID-19 misinformation. The district petitioned for an enforcement of that subpoena through the district's consumer protection law. On March 9, 2022, the Superior Court granted the district's petition and Meta appealed. On September 24, 2023, a three-judge division of the District of Columbia Court of Appeals released its opinion. The following is a summary from the Daily Washington Law Reporter. Neither the Stored Communications Act, SCA, nor the First Amendment prohibits government subpoena against a social media company seeking public statements regarding its content moderation practices alleged to have been deceptive and in violation of Chapter 29 of Title 28 of the DC Official Code, which is the Consumer Protection Procedures. The SCA does not authorize a service provider's refusal to comply with a valid legal process. The general prohibition in disclosure found in 18 U.S.C. Section 2702A does not bar compliance with a government subpoena because the users have consented to this disclosure of their communications by publicly posting them. When the SCA permits the disclosure of electronic communications to a third party, a service provider must comply with a valid subpoena requiring such disclosure. In order for the exacting scrutiny standard to apply to a government subpoena, the party claiming a First Amendment privilege must make a prima facie showing that the discovery request will result in consequences which objectively suggest an impact on or chilling of the member's associational rights. Even if the First Amendment protects the ability of a private social media company to make unfettered content moderation decisions, enforcing the subpoena would not chill appellant from engaging in that activity, so exacting scrutiny is unwarranted. The Court of Appeals opinion, concurring opinion, the judgment, and the underlying Superior Court order are in Dropbox. proposed amendment to the district court's rules regarding jurors personally identifying information. On October 26, 2023, the United States District Court published a notice proposing an amendment to its local rules to protect the addresses, telephone numbers, email addresses, and employment information of federal jurors in the district, including grand juries and prospective jurors. This current rule only covers jurors' names. Any comment on the proposed amendment are due on December 11th, 2023. The next item is legislation. Proposed new DC FOIA exemption, physical and mental evaluations and reports. On October 20th, 2023, Chairman Mendelson, at the request of Mayor Bowser, introduced to the Council Health Occupations Revision General Amendment Act of 2023. This bill would provide that medical records, orders for fitness to practice evaluations, and other types of physical and mental evaluations and the resulting reports shall be exempt from DC FOIA. This bill is in Dropbox and the pertinent language appears on page 48. The last item in my report are administrative matters, and there's only one item here, which is Bega's office relocation. The Bega team continued our weekly meetings concerning the office relocation in October 2023. Director Cooks and I attended the final walkthrough on October 18th, 2023. We are currently in the process of moving and have secured the services of a moving company. The agency's new facility is substantially complete and will be ready for us to occupy on November 13th, 2023, and Director Cooks will provide additional details in her report. This concludes the Office of Open Government's November 2nd, 2023 report. I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have at this time.
Thank you, Director Allen. Are there any questions for Director Allen? That's good news that the move is a go. It's going. It's in process. Yeah, great.
Absolutely. Question.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So did we, first of all, what a great ethics week. Really just looking through all this stuff and chatters all around, especially at the DC bar about how well attended their session was. I think 130 people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's excellent. So a couple of things on the jurors bill where it's now going to be moved to cover names as well. So before they were disclosing addresses, telephone numbers, email addresses, and employment information, just not the names. Is that what was going on?
I'm gonna have to get back to you on that. I'm not sure exactly what they were doing before. Having served as a juror, I'm very interested to know, but I will find that information and get back to you.
Just curious about that. It looks like they're just trying to fix a loophole. They probably never did disclose the other stuff, but now they have, more cover if they're changing the
Right.
law.
I assume that's what it is, and there's probably a little more incentive here in DC, given all that is going on, to keep that information somewhat private.
Yep. On the legislation, have we been asked for a position on the additional FOIA exemption for physical and mental evaluations and reports?
We have not, but we can certainly provide one. I think it is a reasonable bill at first look. And it's probably already covered under FOIA exemptions. So I'm not certain why they want to be so specific about this particular issue. But we'll take a look at it and we'll comment if we feel it's necessary.
Okay. That's all. Nice work. Busy month.
Yes. Thank you.
Great. I also want to commend both your office as well as the Office of Ethics on Ethics Week. It was great. I was able to attend the open session and a few of the webinars, so they were right on. They were right on, spot on. Any other questions for Director Allen? Okay, then next we'll move to the Office of Government Ethics, Director Ashley Cooks, who will give her report also via WebEx.
Good afternoon, Chairperson Hutcheson and members of the board. I'm Ashley Cooks, the Director of Government Ethics. I'm pleased to present this report on the activities of the Office of Government Ethics, OGE. First, an update on the status of OGE operations. This information reported today regarding OGE's cases will not reflect any status changes that may occur because of actions taken by the board during today's meeting. For open investigations by status, we have a grand total of 33 open matters. For open undocketed matters, we don't have any right now. Pending state investigations by status, we have 36 matters that are closed pending collection, 3 matters that are stayed pending DC Superior Court case, 1 matter stayed for OAG False Claims Act case, 5 matters stayed for OIG investigation, and there are no matters stayed for a U.S. District Court case for a grand total of 45. For regulatory matters by status, we have 27 matters that are closed pending collection, 36 matters that are open for a grand total of 63. Again, we currently have 33 open investigations and 9 matters that are stayed. The number of open preliminary and formal investigations includes 8 new matters. The investigative team resolved 10 investigations since the board last met. This total does not reflect the number of complaints that were dismissed for a lack of jurisdiction. OGE is currently finalizing the quarterly complaint report for the 4th quarter of fiscal year 2023 with the intent of publishing it by the end of next week. Pursuant to the Board of Ethics and Government Accountability Delinquent Debt Amendment Recovery Act of 2022, Bega may discretionarily transfer delinquent debts associated with settlements and judgments for Ethics and Open Meeting Act violations to the Office of the Chief Technology Officer's Central Collection Unit, CCU, for collection. The act requires that funds collected on Bega's behalf be deposited into the Ethics Fund or OMA Fund. OGE received a fully executed memorandum of agreement for debt collection services with the CCU last month. Since that time, approximately 76% of OGE's closed pending collection cases were referred for collection. We will continue to send over cases that are delinquent over 90 days on a rolling basis. Next is an update on training and outreach. First, professional development trainings attended by staff. Senior Board Attorney Lynn Tran attended Corporate Political Activities 2023, complying with campaign finance, lobbying, and ethics laws. General Counsel Rashi Raj, Auditor Courtney Walker, and Program Coordinator Stan Kosick all completed the Office of the Chief Technology Officer's 2023 Security Awareness course by Kevin Mitnick. Program Coordinator Kosick and Program Support Assistant Niquelle Titus also attended Intro to Microsoft Forms. For trainings conducted by staff, aside from Ethics Week, since the October board meeting, OGE conducted 1 training course, which was the monthly ethics training. During the month of October, 34 employees completed our online ethics training via PeopleSoft, and 11 users completed courses using the learning management system. The most completed training this month using the LMS was the Board of Ethics and Government Accountability Ethics Training, BGA 923. For outreach, Ethics Week, of course, OGE is proud to have completed another successful Ethics Week. The 2023 event took place last week, October 23rd through the 27th. This year's theme was Everyday Ethics, #can't go a day without it. The coordination committee, led by Supervisory Attorney Stuart Mitchell, hosted an entire week of engaging presentations. As Director Allen mentioned, Wednesday, October 25th, was dedicated solely to OOG trainings. All of the event sessions were well attended, and we've received positive feedback. Some of the sessions with the highest attendance were Legal Ethics for Government Attorneys in conjunction with the DC Bar with about 120 attendees, and Ethics Updates with about 100 attendees. The following courses had approximately 80 attendees. That is, Being Ethical is Harder Than You Think, Fireside Chat, Artificial Intelligence and Ethics, Blowing the Whistle in the District, Ethics for Managers, and Investigative Trends. I'd like to thank Supervisory Attorney Stuart Mitchell and her entire committee for coordinating the event, and all the staff members who participated and attended. The Ethics Week presentations and sessions will be available to view on Bega's YouTube page and the website soon. An update on Bega's newsletter. On Friday, October 13th, OGE published Volume 8, Issue 5 of its newsletter, Ethically Speaking. The newsletter informed readers of recent enforcement actions taken by the agency and other federal, state, and local ethics boards, ethics advisory opinions, and notable activities at Bega. This issue is available on the Bega website. The next issue will be published on December 15th. A copy was placed in the Dropbox. Next is an update on advisory opinions and advice. First, informal advice. OGE's legal staff provided advice for approximately 18 ethics inquiries, which is 15 less than the 33 reported at the last board meeting. This number does not include responses we have provided to questions regarding the lobbyist and FDS e-filing systems. For formal advisory opinions, OGE is in the process of drafting an advisory opinion that addresses the obligations surrounding cooperating with ethics investigations and the prohibition on retaliation, as well as an advisory opinion on the use of official social media accounts opposed to personal accounts. For an update on legislation, we only have one, and that is the Comprehensive Code of Conduct. As defined in the Ethics Act, the Code of Conduct consists of 7 different statutes and regulations with variable applicability. The Comprehensive Code of Conduct is legislation that consolidates the district's ethics laws and standardizes the ethical practices between the legislative and executive branches. OGE's legal team will again review and update the CCC with the goal of submitting an updated version of the legislation to the board and then the council. Next, an update on OGE administrative matters. The first one is the FY25 budget. On October 17th, Director Allen, Administrative Officer Tyrell Dahl, and I attended the FY25 budget kickoff meeting, which provided information on budget formulation updates for the next fiscal year. Bega's FY25 budget is $3.9 million, which is the same as the FY24 budget. We are currently working with our agency fiscal officer to prepare our operating budget submission. An update on office relocation. Our office relocation is still underway and we are approaching the finish line. OGE and OOG continue to meet with DGS and the project management team to discuss construction and technology leads for the boardroom and staff areas. We've received notice that the new office space will be available beginning November 13th. We will begin the moving process on November 9th. We are truly excited to have an office space that is suitable for the entire agency. Next is an update on financial disclosure statement, FDS. Pursuant to DC Official Code Sections 1-1162.24 and 1-1162.25, public officials and certain government employees must file a financial disclosure statement as a means of transparency and to prevent engaging in conduct that violates the Financial Conflicts of Interest statute. Bega is responsible for ensuring that employees and public officials who meet the statutory requirement file their annual financial disclosure statement. The FDS team has identified designated filers who have not filed or were late in filing their FDS. A list of the late filers was sent to the Office of Pay and Retirement for wage garnishment, and former employees were sent notice to pay their fine using our online payment portal. The FDS team has scrubbed the list for OPRS, removing those seeking waivers and those who have left the district government. Of those recipients, several have filed fine waivers requesting that the board waive the fines assessed. Lastly, the council members' biannual financial disclosure statements are due on November 15th. On October 13th, Attorney Advisor Van and Program Specialist Kosick sent notices to the 13 council members and their chiefs of staff regarding the requirement. On October 27th, a second notice was sent. Next is an update on lobbying registration and reporting, LRR. Pursuant to DC Official Code Section 1-1162.27A, a person who receives compensation or expends funds in the amount of $250 or more in any 3 consecutive calendar month period for lobbying shall register with the Director of Government Ethics and pay the required registration fee. According to DC Official Code Section 1-1162.30, Each registrant shall file a quarterly report concerning the concerning the registrant's lobbying activities during the previous quarter. According to the LRR team, lobbyist reporting remained steady this month, but October had a drastic increase in renewal filings. This uptick is due to the e-filing system enhancement requiring an entity to file a current registration, requiring an entity to have a current registration before filing an activity report. Based on this information, it is apparent that some entities were filing activity reports without having completed their 2023 registration. As I mentioned last month, on September 22nd, Octo deployed the LOR e-filing system enhancements. The enhancements will allow for better tracking of contributions, fine payments, and fine assessments. All in all, these tools improve the LOR e-filing system and will allow the team to provide better customer service in months and years to come. As a result of the enhancement, there are 12 registrants who failed to file their 2023 renewal in time. The LOR team has identified the entities and will be moving forward with fines in the next coming weeks. And last is an update on public investigations. We only have one. That is 23-0006F, Henry David DeBoer. This is a formal investigation based on a complaint filed by the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, CJCC, and referred by the Office of the Inspector General. According to the complaint, David DeBoer, respondent and former IT specialist with the Department of Employment Services, provided IT services to CJCC through a vendor, Enlightened Inc., during his government tour of duty. During this time, respondent submitted timesheets to DOES, which reflected his normal district government tour of duty from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday. Respondent's alleged conduct violates DPM Section 1807.1, which prohibits employees from using government time or resources for other than official business or government-approved or sponsored activities. Respondent also failed to report Enlightenment on his 2022 financial disclosure statement and failed to file a 2023 statement. OGE served the respondent with the notice of violation. However, he has failed to respond. Thank you. This concludes the Office of Government Ethics, November 2nd, 2023 report.
Thank you, Director Cooks. And again, congratulations for their successful ethics weeks. Congratulations to Attorney Stuart Mitchell for your leadership on that project. Are there any questions for Director Cooks?
With respect to the new office, are we thinking of reconvening back in person in the near future or at some point?
As far as staff or the board?
The board.
I'll let you all discuss that, but the staff have been reporting in the office 1 to 2 days a week, and we will continue that until we decide otherwise, which will probably be soon.
So at the DC bar, we're returning to some sense of normalcy with respect to our committee meetings. And so we're not doing 100% in person for our committee meetings. And I mean things like the Legal Ethics Committee, the Lawyers Assistance Committee, the Communities Committee, the CLE Committee, committees that kind of serve a role like Bega does, which is to offer guidance, advice for the various programs at the bar. And so while we're coming back a little bit, we're not coming back 100%, but we are finding that there is a real benefit to being in person, sitting across the table from each other or across the room from each other. And so I would recommend that we do that a little bit at least going forward, now that the new office is probably going to be nice and roomy and set up for the board.
And I want to correct what I stated. We are 1 or 2 days in the office, but we will increase that coming soon since we have the space.
Yeah.
Okay. Director Sobin, is that a motion?
No, I'm just mentioning that, we should think about coming back in person in the future after they get moved in and established and you know settled.
I agree. It's just a question about that. Is it possible to do hybrid meetings where some of us could still attend virtually and the rest of us could be there in person?
Yes, the hearing room is set up for that purpose. So you could do that.
All right. Well, we will discuss them.
Okay.
Any other questions for Director Cooks? Okay, then we'll move to the next item on the agenda, and that's the public comments. The public was invited to submit comments by 11 a.m. today, and we did not receive any comments by 11 a.m. The next item on the agenda is a closed session to discuss ongoing confidential investigations pursuant to DC Official Code, Section 2-575B14, to consult with an attorney to obtain legal advice and to preserve the attorney-client privilege between an attorney and a public body pursuant to DC Official Code, Section 2-575B4A, to discuss personnel matters including the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, performance evaluation, compensation, discipline, demotion, removal, or resignation of government appointees, employees, or officials or officials pursuant to DC Official Code, Section 2-575B10, to deliberate on a decision in which the Ethics Board will exercise quasi-judicial functions pursuant to DC Official Code, Section 2-575B13, and to discuss contract negotiation strategies pursuant to DC Official Code, Section 2-575B2. May I have a motion to enter into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded that the board enter into executive session. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 The motion passes unanimously. The board, please log out of this session and log into the WebEx session for the executive session. Once the executive session ends, we will return to this WebEx to report out any matters decided, to finish any other business, and to adjourn the meeting. Thank you. Okay, looks like we're all here. The time is now 1:46, and we are reconvening and we're back on the record. So we have four matters to report out, actually four matters to report out. The board approved the scheduling order and notice of hearing for matter 23-0006-F in Ray D. DeBoer. We approved negotiated settlements, a negotiated settlement in the matter 23-0092-P in Ray C. McLaughlin. And the board approved the dismissal of two matters, 24001-F in Ray L. Mitchell and 24-00-1-F in Ray F. L. Mitchell and 24-0002-F in Ray C. Keys. In addition, the board voted to change the date of the December monthly meeting from December 7th at December 7th at noon to December 14th at noon. And this concludes the meeting of the DC Board of Government Ethics, of Government Accountability. And the next meeting will be held virtually on December 14th at noon. Thank you. The meeting is adjourned.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Take care.
Thank you.